And we're coming to you live for the Built Full Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Wednesday morning. Feels like spring outside again today. It's going to be even warmer tomorrow, maybe even 70 degrees in the city. That is a great thing. Boomer is out today. He decided to leave New York when it got to 70 degrees and go down to the Dominican Republic, but still nicer there than here, of course. He'll be back in a few days. That means we got Jerry Recco in for Boomer, and Jerry is out there in Minneapolis for the Big Ten tournament with Rutgers basketball from a legendary radio station, WCCO in Minneapolis. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Well, good morning, G. How are you? I'll tell you what, we landed here last night. It was 68 degrees. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and I felt like I was still in New York with the great weather.
That's awesome. And Minneapolis, obviously, one of the most miserable places to be in January, February, and March. So you were probably looking at that going, God, I got to go to Minneapolis for the Big Ten tournament in March. There's going to be 17 feet of snow. It's going to suck. But things are good, man. Smile on the face.
Smiling. Things are good. The weather's warm. We were here, I guess it was 3 weeks ago we were here, and it was pretty darn cold. Not so much this time around. And I'll tell you, it is so weird. When you go to these other cities, and I know, trust me, I'm well aware that Minnesota's had their issues, and I get that. There's no one in the city, though. Like, you think about New York at rush hour, even at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's cars everywhere, there's people walking around. Our bus is pulling into the hotel at around, I guess, 6:30 out here. Gee, it looked like it was a Sunday afternoon at, like, I don't know, 4 o'clock, and everybody evacuated the city. It's really weird.
Yeah,
very strange.
Every place is better than New York City is what I'm starting to realize. Most places, at least, as far as the city is concerned. Like, you go to other cities, they're cleaner, there's fewer people, there's not as much honking and nonsense. So hopefully you're there for a little while, because that means Rutgers will be winning and having a good tournament. So this is one of the most crazy days of topics I have ever seen. Of course, the Aaron Rodgers news, which we will get into right away, but then driving in, if you were listening to the warm-up show, I see this video of Aroldis Chapman and his mom that I text Al right away. I said, you got to see this before 5 o'clock. Like, I need to get Al's take on this video. So that is out there as well. If you haven't seen it, get your own take, and we will talk about it. But the Aaron Rodgers VP candidacy that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. put out there yesterday, a hot topic. And obviously, like, the first reaction of Jet fans is, I can't believe this. This is more drama. Is there any way that he retires to go and do this? And I think this is pretty obvious what is going on. And first off, he is not going to be his vice president, one, because he can't win, and two, I don't think he's going to campaign with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What I think this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Aaron Rodgers wanting to get Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s message out there more than it has been, because it's a lot of Trump, a lot of Biden, a lot of Democrat, a lot of Republican, and they probably know that they can't win. Like RFK Jr. probably, I can't win. But they'd like to change some people's minds in the process. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about that? Hey, maybe we should think this way instead of this way. So that's why I think that when they were hiking together and they posted that picture, they came up with this plan. What if I throw out there that you're going to be my VP? People are going to go nuts. People are going to talk about it. Every radio show and TV show in America is going to cover it because I'm putting your name up there potentially to be on the ticket. And then all of a sudden, people are going to look into me more. They're going to hear what I'm about. And that's the best way for me to get attention to my campaign. Now, is it going to work? Is he going to win? Is he going to take enough votes away from either Trump or Biden for this to make a difference? Probably not. But today, RFK Jr.'s campaign has gotten more attention than it ever has. And that's one reason, because everybody talks about Aaron Rodgers.
It is hilarious. I mean, it's honestly hilarious. When I saw this news, I'm thinking he couldn't have done this when he was with the Packers. Like, he's got to come here and do this now. And you're right. He's not going to be vice president. Kennedy's not going to be president. Probably won't even be on the he'll run as an independent. I don't know how far that goes. I don't know what the messaging will be. I don't know if it matters at all. All I know is in our little world, the fact that a Jet quarterback who couldn't stay on the field last year for more than a few plays, who does nothing but talk incessantly on the Pat McAfee show about everything, now he's into the ring now of politics a few months before all these camps start. I mean, what's next? Going to go up into space with Elon Musk on a Tuesday on their off day during the season? I mean, it really is. It is hilarious, and it is so – I don't want to say it's so Jetsy, and that's not fair, but this is very Aaron Rodgers 2024.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of people felt that same way, and most fans felt that same way, and I completely understand because they're at a point with Aaron Rodgers where they are sick of everything Aaron Rodgers that isn't involving throwing a football, and I understand it. Now, they haven't seen him play, really, in a Jets uniform. They don't have any good memories of Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform. Aaron Rodgers' Jets tenure has been him making headlines on Pat McAfee's show and distracting from what ended up being a miserable season last year. So this is just another one of those things. But I really don't think, like, this will be a story today. It'll continue. But there is no way that you're going to see Aaron Rodgers on a campaign trail. You're not going to see him in a situation where he is debating people. That's not going to happen. I mean, I just think this is a grand master plan to get attention to RFK Jr.'s campaign, which is working. And then when Aaron Rodgers is asked about it, he'll say something along the lines of, yeah, I mean, obviously we are friends and we talked about this and it's something I would want to do if it was a different time in my life, but I obviously have a commitment to the Jets, but, you know, I want people to understand his message and how much I want him to, you know, just consider what he's saying. Like something like that is going to come out. So then it'll be gone. But
I agree with you. The one thing you said right there, though, like when you first started talking is so right, though. The Jet fans haven't seen him throw the football yet. Like, I think we almost forget. I know he's a Hall of Famer, well aware. He's a Super Bowl champion, all of that. He's a great player, NFL MVP, wonderful. But what you just said is so perfect. He hasn't even thrown the ball yet for the Jets. We're a year into this thing, and there's so many things around him that just drive you nuts. Like if he played last year and played well, and you know they didn't win anything, but at least they were a 12-game winner, a 11-game winner, and Aaron Rodgers gave you an Aaron Rodgers season. I think Jet fans would chuckle, ha ha ha, whatever. I do think there's going to be a percentage of Jet fans that are annoyed by this because he's a Jet quarterback who hasn't played quarterback for this team yet.
Yes, and I can't blame a Jet fan because I say this all the time. You know, when Boomer says with the negative Jet fan or Joe Beningo, why are you so negative? Or me with my teams, why are you so negative? I mean, because look at what has happened over the last number of years. It's hard to put a positive spin on things. But with this, I don't really think it hurts the Jets or hurts Aaron Rodgers or hurts Rob Saleh or Joe Douglas or anything that they're doing. I mean, it's funny and it's Jetsian and people can laugh at the Jets again. And I think that every Jet fan is tired of that being laughed at. But I mean, you've hit rock bottom with being laughed at. It really can't get any worse than it is. And I just think that this will be, you know, once the season rolls around, it's going to be a blip on the radar. There'll be one interview with Aaron Rodgers about it. He'll answer a couple of questions about it, and that'll be it. So, I mean, sometimes, like and especially the way we consume news and media these days, it's like, all right, let's just look past what is at the surface level with this. Like, let's just take it another step forward. All right, like, is this realistic? Why are they doing this? Why did he mention his name? Is this going to affect the Jets in any way? I mean, does anybody out there really believe that Aaron Rodgers will retire from the NFL to pursue being the running mate for RFK Jr.? Nobody really believes that, right?
I don't know anymore. He's a strange guy, G. I mean, do I think he'll be playing quarterback for the Jets this fall? Yes, I do. But if you told me that there was that RFK Jr. does pick him to be his vice president running mate, and if you told me that there was like real momentum building, I wouldn't be shocked. I am not shocked by anything anymore. I'm really not. Again, if you ask me to make a decision, I think he's playing quarterback for the Jets. Of course he is. He's not walking away from his career. But I also wouldn't be stunned if something happened and he did walk away. But I don't expect that, no, to answer your question.
Right. And it would be one thing if Aaron Rodgers and RFK I can't believe I'm saying this. But it would be one thing if RFK Jr. and Aaron Rodgers could win the election. Because then, in one way, it's noble in a sense, right? It's like, I'm going to drop football to help save the country is probably what they're thinking. Yeah, right, exactly. So in a way that, but they don't have a chance to win. So basically, him retiring or dropping out or whatever from football or taking a hiatus from football when he's 40 years old already isn't realistic. Like there's just that would be a total waste of time.
That's a Robert Saleh.
This morning?
Oh, my God. I mean, he gets hurt a few plays in last year, and now he's got to hope that his quarterback doesn't leave to try and run the country.
Bro, I mean, can you believe this? Crap. You believe this, Rob? You serious with this? Bro, listen, I love Rodgers, but he ain't winning this thing. Yeah, I would love to be in a room with the Jets brass when they see this and get their reaction. I mean, they have to call Aaron Rodgers, right? Don't they have to call him right after this and talk to him? I
would certainly think so. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if I'm Joe Douglas, I'm right away going, like, what really is going on here? You know, and and if they end up. You know, if they end up getting an answer they don't like, then that right there could finally turn them just a little bit against him and not give him everything he wants.
The one thing I would say, in all seriousness, all jokes aside, because I am with you. He's not going to be running for vice president. That's not happening. But all jokes aside, if I'm a Jet fan, all I want is my team to be focused on one goal. And that's winning the Super Bowl, not being a laughingstock, not being embarrassed anymore, and being ready in September when the season begins. And the one thing that would bother me this morning is the fact that it seems like Aaron Rodgers has, since he's been here, has 9,000 other things on his mind. Doesn't mean that he's not locked in. Doesn't mean he's not going to work his ass off. We saw what he did to try and get back on the field last year. If the Jets would have stayed relevant, he might have played in December. I don't know that he would or he wouldn't have, but he was certainly trying. So I am not by any stretch of the imagination challenging his commitment. I do believe his commitment's there. You would just wish, though, that his focus would be 100% solely on being the best Jet quarterback he can be and not all this other stuff because, my God, has there been a lot of stuff surrounding him since he's been here.
Yeah, and well, with this particular thing, I mean, I do believe, and you mentioned the points I was going to counter you with where, I mean, look how hard he worked to get back and look at all the stuff that you saw in the offseason with him and Hard Knocks and how he took over the team and the leadership and all of that, and he did come back from California and spent most of the season with the team and around the team. So I do believe he's completely committed. And I also think that you can have other interests and still be the best version of yourself in your job. I mean, I think it's an easy thing to say that just because he's got these other interests or sits there and talks to Pat McAfee or gets in a feud with Jimmy Kimmel that he's not fully focused on being the Jets quarterback. I mean, he is tackling issues that are, first of all, he's one of the most famous athletes in the world. Two, he's tackling issues that a lot of people talk about and political issues, and he's feuding with celebrities. But there's lots of NFL players out there that have other interests outside of football that just that distract them from potentially being all in that we don't talk about. It's just that Aaron Rodgers stuff is just out there in the media all the time. So I don't want to make a direct correlation in the fact that just because Aaron Rodgers cares about issues in this country doesn't mean or that automatically means that he's not focusing as much on being the Jets quarterback, because I don't think this guy, especially after last year, is going to come back and be out of shape or not focused or not care. I mean, this guy so desperately wants to come off of this Achilles injury and be great again.
I agree. Like I said, I'm not challenging any of that. It's just if I was a Jet fan with the history they've had, just would prefer it to be quiet, go about your business, and actually win some games. That's all.
No,
That's
I know.
Doesn't mean he can't have a life and other interests. As you said earlier, it's admirable that he wants to do something to actually help the world. I'm all for that. That's great. It's just he is clearly more than just about football. And for a franchise that has not won in forever and is really hoping that, this is the guy to take them to the promised land, you just wish it would be a little quieter. That's all.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure that is the majority. That's probably what the Jets organization thinks. That's what every Jet fan thinks. But I would just say that it doesn't. Even though it feels crazy and it feels like this is a Jets thing and a negative Jets thing, I when you dive down deep into it, I really don't think that it's all that bad. I mean, and most people, and this is the only thing that they're going to have to survive is everybody having the same take about this all day long. Like that's all. The Jets are going to have a day of people laughing at them. I can't believe this. This guy's a crackpot. Blah blah blah. Like they're going to have to deal with a day of that, and then it's going to be over. Like I just wish that sometimes, like, the majority of people could just look past what's right in your face. And that is a problem on all topics in all worlds. It's like right in your face. It's like reaction, and then and then we move on to something else without actually using your brain to break it down.
Yeah, we're in the Twitter world, my friend.
No, I know, but let's try to be better at that. Just try to be better at that. So my point was, why? All right, so why is he doing this? I think to get attention to the guy that he wants his message out there. I think that this helps that. I mean, how many people do you think when they found out that Aaron Rodgers might be his RFK Jr.'s VP looked up what RFK Jr. was all about? How many people you think did that?
A lot more than yesterday.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
And they're hoping that somebody stumbles across that and go, oh, wow, he's for this, he's for that, he's for this, he's for that. I mean, not so bad.
Brilliant marketing. I do agree with that 100%.
I mean, especially, what's going to be on the ticket come November? We're going to do it all over again.
I know.
Run it back, 2020. Run it back. All right, Jerry, it is good to see you on Zoom. How are they treating you over there? Did they let you into the building okay?
Yeah, no, man, they gave me a key card to get in. Brad met me here to make sure I was settled. It couldn't be better to be, and it's literally a block from the hotel. Couldn't be better, actually. Really, it's a very good setup.
All right, it looks good. It sounds good.
By the way, you know what they do have?
What's that?
I got to steal one for you because it is right up your alley, and Al as well. They have a coffee machine, so they don't have Keurigs, they don't have Dunkin' Donuts, but they got a great big coffee machine. You can make lattes, you can all sorts of things. The creamers they have, Snickers.
Snickers creamer?
I figured Al would want like 8 of them.
Oh, my goodness.
That is so Minnesota, isn't it?
Snickers creamer.
I'd lied to you if I told you I wasn't going to try one today.
You ever going, well, I'm sure people have, but you go to some of these, Dunkin' does everything for you, which is the greatest. But some of these other coffee places that you go to, and you look at all the different creamer flavors. You go to the supermarket, you see all the different creamer flavors. I mean, that International Delight has got every single flavor combination that's ever. It's like asparagus macchiato. You're like, what?
They've made coffee equivalent to ice cream.
Yeah. No, essentially, they have.